from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. It's pretty wild. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yoxt. This is Full Spectrum Universe. We are the embattled broadcast from behind enemy lines in the once great state of New York. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is Races from the Stars, Part 8. We're going to be doing the Arcturians. Not the Arcturians, the Arcturians. We have a ton of information to go over tonight, so we're going to get right into it. But before we do, I just wanted to say that we did an amazing interview today with Goshia, and it will be put out on Thursday. I had to pre-record it because of time constraints in the sense of work and things like that. So I'm going to edit the video down, make it a little bit more streamlined. And when I tell you that we talk about the Tigetans and the perspective of the Tigetans and the galactic ordeals and things that are happening behind the scenes and what's currently going on Earth, it was an enlightening, amazing interview, just to say the least. Everybody's going to just absolutely love this. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It is so much fun to talk to people like her and really get their perspective and their ideas of what's really going on out there and how contact, while some of us get it in many, many different ways, there's transcripts upon transcripts of the information that she is getting, and it is truly, truly phenomenal. It's epic. It's wild. There's so much to go over when we talk about it. But tonight, we're going to talk about another race. We're going to talk about the Arcturians. The Arcturians are one of the most spiritually advanced races in the galaxy. This is one of the people that we look at when we look at the Arcturians is Vivian Chavez and her work and the amazing information she's bringing to the table. She is essentially, a lot of people would like to say she's a hybrid. She's not actually a hybrid. She is an incarnation, which means that a Arcturian soul, or a fractal of an Arcturian soul, entered into her third dimensional matrix avatar and is using her to privy us to the information that's been helping so many people wake up, right? Another reason why we're doing this specific race and these specific topics of these races from the stars is because a lot of us that watch this stuff and contain and consume this content are star seeds of some type. And when we hear specific information, we start to resonate with that information, and it helps us figure out where our lineage lies. Now, while all aspects of the universe revert back to Lyra, it's from Lyra these extensions of civilizations go out across the universe, across the multiverse even. And that's where we get a lot of our energies and a lot of our abilities. And knowing the abilities of your starseed family gives you an area to study and excel and raise your vibration with this information. So with all that being said, we have an amazing event coming up over the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. It's called the Magic Box Timelines. We're going to be talking to you about everything that has happened over the last, couple of solstices, getting ready for this winter solstice and preparing for this shifting paradigm that's going to split us between new Earth and old Earth, essentially changing the vibrations. And there's different thoughts about what that means and what that really is. We can have a whole show going over just that alone. But we're walking into this new time, this new arena. And we have to be prepared with tools, with abilities, with our vibrations and our densities at the highest peak that we can get them to before walking in there. So there is the Magic Box Timelines. I've been sharing it on Facebook. I've been sharing it on YouTube in the community tab. So if you're not aware of it, it's also posted in the videos to come. We have great speakers such as Paul Wallace, John Shaughnessy, Aggie Nost. with so many amazing people. We're also going to be joined by one of our brothers, Greg Bornstein, who I haven't seen in quite a while either, and it's going to be a great time. So let's jump in to the information because that's why we're here tonight. So, Races from the Stars, Part 8, the Arcturians. Arcturians are from the Bootes constellation, and this is their place of origin. They It's a planet around the star of Arcturus, which is 36.7 light years from us. Now, when we go into the entities that we know as the Arcturians, there is also a second race that is tremendously important, which is called the Corindans or the Corindorians, right, from the Bootes. And they are essentially the child race of the Arcturians. So what we're going to do is we're going to segregate a segment to essentially talk just about them, right? And we know that the Arcturians, just like many, many others, have are essentially the continuation of beings, some in a physical form and some in a non-physical form, that have originated from Lyra. Now, there's also a point of view or a perspective that says that the Andromedans had a major role in the beginnings of the Arcturians, or that the Arcturians originated as a cell group of Andromedans, which they could have, but eventually all roads lead to Lyra. We know that. So we're looking at this from a perspective of it's a possibility. So I put it into the information so we're all pretty much aware of it, right? So they are etherical beings, the Lyrans. Now, the Corindorians are physical, and not the Lyrans, the Arcturians. Sorry, Arcturians. Now, here's where we get into a little bit of a conundrum, right? So the Arcturians can be from third dimension to seventh dimension, and there's a lot of in between action going on, right? So when they reside within the third dimension, they're usually inhabiting an avatar of, let's say, a human being. Most of them that are of the physical form reside within the fourth density, right? And that fourth density is strictly an avatar for the Arcturian etherical being that resides within it, right? So the Arcturians are usually fifth density and higher. And the fifth density is on a Rishi level. So the perspective that we're looking at is the sixth and seventh dimensional Arcturians are somewhat elders. They're the leaders of the civilization. This is what we know. So as we get down to it, we're talking about both sixth and seventh dimensional sentient service to other beings. They occupy livable planets and bases in the area of the star Arcturus. Some Arcturians are humanoids. These individuals are known by their deep compassion and unfailing kindness towards all walks of life in all dimensions. Now we're going to get to it. The Arcturians aren't just in our dimension. They transcend time and space a lot of the time. So they're able to whiz in and out of the multiverse, whiz in and out of timelines because of their sixth and seventh dimensional beings, right? Because they are of that stature. So we see a lot of this coming together, right? So their appearance is essentially something that we're going to kind of really get to a little bit, but they're tall and short Arcturians. They are usually blue, purple, or white. Some reside within the shades of green. We know that. So we're going to get to a little bit more of that later when we're talking about abilities and specialties. And so we're going to kind of breeze over the appearance right now because appearances really are important in the sense of what they look like. It's more about what we're seeing when we're interacting with them, right? So as we go, dimensional densities we talked about and how incredible it is that they can reside anywhere from the third density Arcturians are like Vivian. There is a etherical being that resides within her that or is a fractal of an etherical being that is projected into this 3D matrix. And it's giving her the ability to interact with us and kind of share the Arcturian information. And she's absolutely amazing with her information. And she's given me a ton of information. And whenever we've had her on, the connection between myself and her has been off the charts because she radiates love, she radiates compassion, and she radiates unfailing kindness. And she's truly an amazing person. And it's an experience just to know her and be in the presence of her, even if it is online. So that is a prime example of what we're talking about. So now we're going to get into a little bit of their abilities. They're experts in the use of geometry, color, and sound vibration for altering time, space, atmosphere, and states of being. They're energetic alchemists, they're architects, they're builders, and they're healers. Some of the best healers in the known universe. They are masters of healing. We're going to go into that a little bit more later, right? So they see beneath the surface of things and use precise methods to create and alter environments, including the health of a vessel. So this is where we see this higher echelon of knowledge being played out and portraying, um, you know, essentially more and more. And we have a question that says they are on the Rishi level. Yes, they are on the Rishi level. And they, it's pretty much a almost creative light being type level. We'll get into a little bit more of them later about what that means, but we have specialties as well. And the specialties is using sacred geometry to move through space, time, and shift realities. Their methods of interdimensional travel and communications are used throughout the universe. They're also called upon to create geometrical sound and color forms to alter or transmit to developing worlds. The Arcturians are often the masterminds behind the crop circle signatures, and they create amazing ships of light that can traverse many dimensions and are very much sought after by other races. They enjoy using their abilities for constructive purposes. So we're seeing a pattern evolve of how this higher thinking and this higher dimensional thinking is essentially giving them the ability to do a lot more than some of the other races could even become capable of. And this near future that we talk about now. So, not yet aware of the Arcturian evolution, other than they evolved to become a highly spiritual species and are considered to be among the most technically advanced in the galaxy, which means that there is also a great advancement in the scientific realm as well. They may actually have come from Andromeda, and they definitely have Lyran ancestry. Their focus is designing and implementing their brilliant ideas to be of service in the universe. So, some of the qualities of these particular beings is precise intellect, telepathic, alchemist, analytic, scientific, reserved, deep structured thinkers, code breakers, mathematical, healers, and interdimensional travelers among Arcturians are master healers. They are master healers of the cosmos. People look to them for not just answers, but methods in which they're able to use the same type of energetic abilities to heal others in that way. They are the grand teachers of our universe. They are tremendous. There is probably not words to facilitate the amazing abilities of these entities. And just to bring it back to me for a minute, we talk about the different areas of civilization between technology and energy and spirituality. It seems as if the Arcturians, through my endeavors of research, have reached their pinnacle. They have reached their pinnacle in the sense of there is nothing off limits to them. They can do what they want. They can help who they want. And the thing about it is really that there's no defining the potential of that race, and we should aspire to walk a mile within their shoes and try and be like them. Our potential is limitless just as theirs is. And when we look at this, right, and we say the similarities could be contextually just completely similar, what's stopping us from becoming that specific level of intellect and that specific level of energy? And actually I talked about that with Gosha as well, and kind of what's stopping us from reaching those heights. And the ultimate answer is ourselves. Now, we can say that there are cabals, there's elites, there's all these people holding us back. But a lot of that is programming unto thyself, right? It's only you who's holding you back from being able to dimension hop, to transverse timelines, or at least be able to see them. It's our own internal programming, which tells us that we don't have these abilities, which essentially grounds us into this 3D matrix. Now, the ones who have transcended that 3D matrix know that, and they know that because they've seen past it, and they don't reside within the programs of control that have been instilled by others, yes, but are held up by us, right? These programs are implemented to you at a young age. But if you still follow them, that's on you, right? And I know it's kind of, it's kind of crappy to say that, but it truly is us, right? It's up to us to break that paradigm. And, you know, uh, people are asking in the chat if what political party are they affiliated with. Now, it's a good joke, but their politics is not so much politics, right? When you get to this level of telepathic communication, there's no hiding your true intentions from each other. The burdens of what's that person thinking, or is that person deceiving me, fall away. And imagine what a society would look like if we could essentially read each other's thoughts and there would be nobody hiding true intentions from anybody. They would have to be known because they would be able to look into the mind to communicate that. Imagine the reaches and the heights that society would transcend to if we knew who was dangerous, who wasn't, who was having thoughts that were a little bit more below board, and who were having thoughts that are above board. It also would help you to create a collective, or somewhat of a collective mindset, which is what the Arcturians do reside within, somewhat of a collective mindset. And they've broken the traditional stereotypes of civilization. They've transcended time, they've transcended space, they've transcended dimension. Again, there's nothing off limits to them. But they still have a hierarchy in the way in which they conduct their civilization. And that we're going to get into a little bit later. We're also going to be talking about the starships in which they ride in, right? Or they use. So it's it gets pretty incredible when we talk about these things. And again, just to highlight what we're talking about, it's all about programming and breaking that program. And that's one of the things we really focus on here, because if we really think about it, even our subconscious is programmed. If I say something to you, your first thought is usually a programmed thought. It happens to me all the time. And I have to take that second thought because it's a more logical, thoughtful thought as opposed to the first one. And this is what controlling our emotions in our subconscious helps us to ascend vibrationally up through the dimensional density, right? let's get back to what we're talking about because we're going a little bit off topic. So, the Arcturians are a group consciousness, and that's a lot different from a hive mind, as people would say, right? A consciousness means that they all exist within the same field, but they're still individuals within that field. They choose to be in that group consciousness. So they're a group consciousness extraterrestrial race that are highly evolved, and they seek to help mankind and are known as master healers. Their skills and knowledge in working with spiritual energies are immense. They have channeled through that, they are motivated to help us find our perfected selves. Perfection here means being connected and aligned with our divine selves in a way which leads us to our fullest possible experience and expression. Arcturians are etheric healers, and Arcturus is also an incarnational gateway. The star in which they reside around is an incarnational gateway. So the Arcturian star seeds have access to learning these great healing abilities. Sometimes we need healing to assist us with this, and this is why they're known for their healing skills. However, they are capable of helping us with many aspects of our multidimensional self with an energetic purification. Their grounding and soul awareness and working with this energetic way aligns with our chakras and our light bodies. So it helps us to dissolve the shadow work which resides within us when they use their energetical ways of healing. It also clears the chakras. It also helps us become aligned with the mind, body, and spirit, which brings us to our full light body potential. It's attuning us to adhere to our light bodies and letting our light bodies guide the way. Now, when we talked to Vivian, we talked about that. And when she said these things, they resonated in me like a bell. My body and hairs were standing up on end because it felt amazing. It felt amazing to be in that presence. And I'm sure the people who are in contact with the Arcturians and their healing abilities feel that resounding resonation of vibrational frequency that etherically cleanses them, and it brings in new states of thinking, and it connects you to that etherical higher self and light bodied higher self, right? We know that our soul or our consciousness transcends the seven chakras out of the body into the etherical plane. And that's where they do most of their work. So there's a lot of connection here. So as we keep going, we're going to talk about some of the traits of the Arcturians. And I say these traits because the star seeds will find themselves to reside within a lot of these too. They are always strong from within. They like to be spiritual from childhood. If it's not done so, they are strong. They strongly get disappointed. They're very much creative in nature. They love to produce humor and make others laugh. They love traveling. They often get bored. Due to this reason, they do something to grab the other's attention. They do not like to maintain close relationships with others. They're always very casual because a lot of it resides within the self, and those external relationships are not as important as the internal relationship, and that's what kind of that means. Most often unknown people get attracted to them as they are strong and complete within the self. They are at their best to advise others. Usually, they don't have or get involved in much issue of others, but they cannot tolerate when others do not sort of listen to what they're saying once given the advice. And this is more of a starseed trait, not so much the Arcturians themselves. This is where the human ego kind of comes in a little bit, right? So they are most active people and they are good in relationships, but let them be free. So there's two contradicting statements there, right? They don't like to maintain close relationships with others, but they're good in relationships which can let them be free, which means that those are more casual, right? And they can freely express their anger and humor, but cannot encase that emotion for a long time, right? So those are some of the traits of the Arcturian people. And we're going to get into the Arcturian society. And we're kind of getting through this one a little bit quicker than I would like to, but this information is very it grabs you. So I want to just kind of spew it all out. But after this, I'm going to kind of break down a little bit of our society and their society. So the Arcturian society is governed by the elders, who are revered by the people of Arcturus, for their advanced knowledge, wisdom, and extremely high vibrational frequencies. The higher the vibrational frequency, the closer one is to light or spirit or God, right? Now, when we say God, God is not embodiment of the white bearded man in the sky. God is essentially a creator being or essentially source, right? But it could be the bearded guy in the sky too. But when they say that in the sense of embodiment, they're talking about the ability to create. So they're very much alike, which they're very happy about because it erases the pettiness of comparing looks, which is so predominant to Earth society, right? The Arcturians are the most loving, non judgmental beings you can possibly imagine. Their bluish, whitish, greenish, purplish skin and their color, they also have very large almond shaped eyes. They have only 3 fingers. They have the ability to move objects with their mind, and they're totally telepathic. Their source of nourishment is an effervescent liquid that is highly vitalizing to their entire being. They live off energy. Their eyes are a color of dark brown or black, and their main organ of seeing is actually their telepathic nature, not their physical eyes. Their sense of hearing transcends even their telepathic nature. They also have an ability to sense with the backs of their heads. So basically, they have like eyes in the back of their head, but that's that telepathic resonation off the skull, right, or off the head portion of this etherical being. It emanates like a ripple in a wave, like when you throw a rock into a pond and the ripple happens. That's what that's like. Their average lifespan is from 350 to 400 years. Their highly developed spiritual nature has allowed them to avoid aging. And since they have the ability to transcend time and space, they terminate life when the contract that has been arranged for their existence is finished. There is no sickness in Arcturus. It was eliminated centuries ago. In the Arcturian system, there are no extreme temperatures. Their civilization is one that has transcended duality and lives within the oneness. Professions on Arcturus are determined by a person's vibrational frequency and the color in his or her aura. For example, those who are in charge of taking care of children must have a violet as their predominant color in their aura, for only the wisest souls are allowed to associate with the young. Pretty crazy, right? I mean, this is pretty wild. So the same is true for those who are allowed to give birth. They are screened and tested in terms of their auric and vibrational frequency. And when chosen by the elders to give birth, an Arcturian child, people go through an amazing process. The vibrations of both individuals involved are raised to the seventh dimensional frequency for the birthing process to ensure bringing in the most highly evolved soul. The seventh dimensional frequency is that of an ascended master. So the reproduction is an honor on Arcturus and one of the most highly regarded professions. The actual reproductive act is not performed in a physical sense, as it is understood on Earth. On Arcturus, it's done through a kind of mind link in which the male and female energies are perfectly balanced. Through this procreation process, some kind of electronic force flows through the two beings and it creates another being that is a replica of the link. The new life is then taken to a special room that emanates the proper vibrational frequencies until the being is ready for integration into the family unit on Arcturus. Many beings from Arcturus are seeded to other planets because the High Council has ordered this as a great act. So, one more before we discuss this. On Arcturus, there is no competition. Every thought, word, deed, and product is judged by its ability to raise vibration closer to that God level. If it does not exist on Arcturus. A person's frequency of vibration is directly related to the mastery he or she has over their body, emotions, thoughts, actions, and creations. Arcturians have total mastery over these aspects of self. They have developed the ability to transcend the ego, the separative, lower, fear based self. Success is judged only in the terms of the measure of light frequency. There are machines that constantly check the vibrational frequency of each individual on the planet it's manifesting. If one particular Arcturian receives feedback that he's not meeting his own goals for evolution, then immediately the elders will send a teacher to help that individual. Now, to me, I think that this is one of the areas in which we have to highlight because the meaning of this is that they're there as a unit. They're there helping each other when one falls astray. The elders of the group send help, right? Not only that, they've transcended the dualistic, fear based reality, which we are churning in as we speak. And the more star seeds that come through onto this 3D matrix destabilize the matrix. And when that matrix is destabilized, who knows what's going to happen? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? I believe it's going to be good, but we don't know that for sure. But we're doing what we do to help the collective because we don't believe that anybody should be title locked into a third dimensional matrix. There are a lot of us, especially in this audience, or especially in this group of people, it's not really an audience, it's a group of us who are stepping out of that third density dimensional matrix. And because of that, we've lost all that fear based programming. Now, there's a lot more programming we have yet to shed, but the most vital is the fear based. And we've done it in a way that was not harmful to ourselves. We've done it by information overload. We've done it by keeping track of our subconscious mind to be in full control. And as you just heard, the Arcturians are full masters of self in every aspect. This is what we aspire to. These are the beings who we should be sitting at the feet of to learn in their process, to learn and bask in their vibrational frequency. It's important that we understand the way that their society works, because when we jump ahead into this new earth, our society is going to change. We have to change with it. So we have to understand how these upper echelon beings in the sixth, seventh, and even eighth and ninth density operate. So we can attain and essentially change the patterns to attain that for everybody. That's why a lot of this talking about the races from the stars is important, because as we follow the different species or different peoples and cultures and civilizations, we slowly go up in increments up the dimensional timeline and up the dimensional pipeline. So we're seeing the different types of societies and how they interact with their dimensional density and their frequency. So we can use that. We have to use the information at hand to help us understand the next steps. And that's what's so important about this as well. So let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about the Arcturian ships, the ships in which that can travel interdimensionally. This is absolutely wild. So the Arcturian ships are the finest in the entire universe. They are propelled by crystals that do not come from that planet, but from a planet in the Milky Way that has not been discovered by earthly scientists. These crystals have a way of conducting light energy from the great central sun. The Arcturians say that they no longer use computers because they long ago outgrew the need for them. They have other systems that are far more advanced. One section of the Starship is a replication of Arcturus itself. It has the ability to take any crew member back to Arcturus in his etherical body. This helps strengthen and rejuvenate crew members away from home for long periods of time as they traverse the universe. Earth's frequency very harsh for Arcturians because of their fifth dimensional frequency. Now, while Earth itself vibrates at fifth dimensional frequency, for the Arcturians to interact with the human beings on that Earth, they have to drop into a third or fourth dimensional avatar, which causes them physical discomfort. But they do it to make sure that their messages are relayed and conveyed. So, as we go forward, the Arcturians don't eat, but are able to ingest energy like we talked about before. The Arcturians sleep for only a short period of time once a week. But for them, it is a sacred time for the soul to travel and connect to the higher realms of consciousness. They almost enjoy a sleep time, or, what the ancient natives call the dream time. So there's also another room in the Arcturian ship that has a complete data bank containing every aspect of Earth life and the life on almost all of the other planets as well. And this is what we talk about when we say that Earth is an arc planet. It holds all of the dimensional code and all of the physical matters code or genetic code on it, some way, shape, or form. So the Arcturians are able to ingest information by means of their telepathic ability and through their nervous system. This process is similar to the ingestion of food, but it occurs on an energetic level, and they're able to assimilate information 100 times faster than the average human being on Earth. An Arcturian ship has a room that strengthens the vibration of all who enter, so they will not be overwhelmed by even the strongest vibrations of planet Earth as well, sort of like a safe room. The Arcturians are able to travel through time. They're also able to shuttlecraft that are basically global in shape, which were used for activating energy points and grids on Earth that have been lying dormant for many centuries. The Arcturians have been working with Earth since life first started on this planet. They have many bases on Earth as well. They also have three bases on the moon. Many of their bases on Earth are inside mountains. And Arcturians can manifest physically, but they also exist in the etherical state, so physical matter is not an obstacle to them. There's a vaporizing section in the starship that can instantly make any person or object disappear. They use it on a person or only if they have essentially passed away. The amazing thing about this machine is that whatever is vaporized can be re-solidified at any time in the future just by checking the ship's records. So the more I learn about the Arcturus and Arcturians, the more Star Trek seems realistic. I truly believe that this is what Gene Roddenberry was tapping into. So this is sci-fi at its best, but it's actually true. It's actually true. These beings transcend all known time and space. Let us keep going. Many souls are brought to the Arcturian starships during the dream state, where they are worked on and helped. And although the Arcturians never invade a person's free choice, as the Greys are doing, the Arcturians are here to assist humans in entering the fourth and fifth density within the dimension of this reality. And in raising their vibrational frequencies, they stand as guardians and protectors of the higher consciousness in the universe. They are based in every country on the planet, and in fact, have bases all over the universe. They're here to educate humanity, but have had a difficult time dealing with government and military who are primarily interested in the technology, not the spiritual enlightenment. The Arcturians could help an even greater and more open capacity than they are now, but the people who govern the United States and the world are so materialistic and egotistically oriented that they resist that help on with these incredible beings. Instead, the US government made a deal with the Graves, who are mostly of the silvers to self predominantly, and are taking over in a greedy way, and not so much the entire planet, but of cultures, right? So we see a shifting happening. We see things happening here that there's some negative effects, and the Arcturians are helping. But we have to remember that the Galactic Federation has basically a prime directive of non-interference. So while the Arcturians are teaching us, they're not giving it to us. They're showing us the way. And that's one of the fundamentals we have to understand. They're basically showing us how, but they're not going to hand it to us. So we have to learn. And that's what being a forever student comes into play. And one of the things me and Gosha talked about again was to listen to everybody's information. It's up to you to create the paradigm. It's up to understand what is and what isn't. And all of our different perspectives are going to see things differently. But that interaction between those two perspectives is something that should be treasured because it helps us to see different perspective, right? So just like that, the Arcturians teach that the most fundamental ingredient for living in the fifth dimension is love. Negativity, fear, and guilt must be overcome and exchanged for love. So, one of the reasons Earth has not been attacked by warlike negative extraterrestrials has been those civilizations' fear of the advanced starships of the Arcturians. Their ships are state of the art technology, far beyond anything that we've mentioned even so far. One of the starships circling the Earth is called the Starship Athena, after the Greek goddess. So the Arcturians work in close connection with ascended masters, who they call the Brotherhood of All. They also work closely with what they refer to as Galactic Command. The Arcturians travel the universe in their starships, which are some of the most advanced in the entire universe. So they've got a leg up on many cultures, many cultures. So as we keep going, we're going to talk about how they've impacted Earth, and that's one of the biggest part of this, the involvement of Earth. This is where we kind of look at how they in a lot of them come to Earth in a way like Vivian, where they take on an avatar to essentially go forward and teach. Again, not to hand, but to relay experience, because experience teaches. So as we keep going, the Arcturians are our neighbors, and at one point, a group inhabited Earth itself, long before humans became sentient and before Lemuria and Atlantis. It was decided by galactic councils that there would be other experiments to help the local species develop on Earth. We talked about this. We talked about the Arcturians and Inner Earth during galactical beginnings, and how the Atlanteans and Lemurians were sort of the Anunnaki side, and there was also the Patel and the Arcturians who were in uh, basically in Talos in the underground communities, right? So Earth is a place that was basically inhabited by many other different species, which is why we say, again, I say this all the time, 23andMe, because our genetical code was changed so many times from each species inhabiting Earth and injecting some of their DNA into ours. So they left, and they left kind of early, but they still retain an interest in Earth's progress. And today they make contact attempting to open humanity to new thought, especially via their use of sacred geometry. They design crop circles to input new evolutionary frequencies into and their inhabitants. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about as well was this other species called the Corindorians, and how they're the children of the Arcturians, right? So we're going to talk about them next, because this essentially is I don't want to say it's like the Arcturian stepping down into third and fourth density, but it kind of is. But they're classified the race of children of Arcturians, right? This is sort of like where they begin. So let's talk about the Corindor. Corindor is the home planet in the Booty system. It is said to be the third planet in the solar system, consisting of 12 planets circling the star Corina, which would be in a star system of the Bootes constellation, quite close to Arcturus. Carina would be 400 light years away from us. So humans allegedly living on a colonized planet known as Corindor are what we classify as perfectly human in proportion. They're 4 to 5 feet tall on the average. Now, a gentleman by the name of Gabriel Green described alleged contact with these groups in publications during the late 1950s and early 1960s. The account published by Gabriel Green were rather fantastic, perhaps no less than so than other accounts, but Robert Renaud is one of the main Corinthian contactees, and he claims that they have large underground facilities somewhere in Massachusetts. The Corindans claim alliance with the Arcturians and are part of the massive collective alliance of worlds who learn to do more non-interventionalism than direct interventionalism, right? So that's who these people are. But they are very much an offspring of the Arcturian civilization. They're genetically linked, they are descended from them, but they've taken some of the physical where the Arcturians are more etherical. So, pretty fascinating stuff. That's crazy. Anders, what you just said in the chat, that's crazy. I'm not going to bring it up, but that's kind of funny. So, this is the last slide we have tonight. And this is Edgar Cayce has said in his teachings that the Arcturus is one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. And I agree, right? And it is the fifth dimensional civilization that is a prototype of Earth's future. This is why it's so important. Let me read that again for dramatic effect. Pause. It is the fifth dimensional civilization that is a prototype of Earth's future. New Earth 5D, right? Prototype Earth's future. Its energy works as an emotional, mental, and spiritual healer for humanity. It is also an energy gateway through which humans pass during death and rebirth. The Arcturians, of course, may be responsible for stargates across all of the galaxy, right? One of those stargates resides in Earth's center, and that's how your avatar gets a consciousness. The consciousness passes through the stargate at the Earth's core to eventually be incarnated into the physical on Earth's crust, right? Its function as a way station for non physical consciousness to become accustomed to physicality. The Book of Knowledge, the Keys of Enoch, describes it as the midway programming center used by the physical brotherhoods in this universe to govern the many rounds of experiments with physicals at this end of the galaxy. The Arcturians are a small and uh, they're a favorable teacher to the ascending masters of this planet. They're tremendous, tremendously advanced in every way, shape, and form that we are. And their focus, knowledge, and investigation at any cost. They are frequently bewildered or best indifferent to the objections of others to their techniques and using it for further exploration. Nominally, individuals, they have such a strong commonality of purpose and strong telepathic ability, as Earthlings would describe it, at least is the debatable whether it's truly an individual group or a collective consciousness. I believe that they are all fractals of one giant collective consciousness. But those fractals also become fractals, which again, trickle downstream. Also nominally peaceful and contemplative, they also have such an overriding passion for exploration that they will frequently completely, basically, go out on whims to make sure that they have taken into account all aspects, and that's their goal. This is the origin of the persistent stories among human abductees of the non invasive procedures experienced during abductions, such as light technology and the ability to transfer information via light. So, all of these characteristics we've listed so far have shown that these masters of time and space are something that we can strive to at a later date in our future. Also, when we look at their abilities, some of their abilities are a codex for the abilities surfacing on Earth as we reach this new Earth collective, as we raise our collective consciousness and our collective vibration to be more aligned with oneness and source. So it's giving us a blueprint of how to move into this next age, the age of humankind's golden age, the renaissance of who we truly are, the re-evolution of human consciousness. And that is the presentation for this evening. Any questions can be put into the chat as we speak. We have about 3 minutes, 4 minutes left before we shut this down. But also in the chat, let me know what you guys thought of the information tonight. And don't forget to share this out. This information will awaken the other Arcturian starseeds among many other types of starseeds across the planet. It's our duty, it's our benevolent job to awaken those who are waiting to be awoke. And if not us, then who? It is our duty to put them first and help them reach their truest potentials. Um, we've done a lot in this specific series so far. The next episode of this series is going to be a collective of the smaller, basically of the smaller types of groups, and we're going to bring that into, into fruition to kind of talk about the smaller role players in the galaxy. And again, this is just amazing information. This was one of my favorites to look up because I see such a connection to the human beings and humankind and how we move and how we're getting to this point where we're rooting out those negative energies and we're kind of moving towards this proclamation of higher vibrational status. And it's being noticed by extraterrestrials all over the galaxy. And they've had an interest in us for quite a while. So, my contact with the Alpha Centauri has increased. They have given me information via light code, which I'm currently deciphering, which I'll be able to give to the public when I have permission. Hopefully, to be soon. And we really gone through a lot of stuff today, and Thursday's episode is going to be absolutely amazing again. But also, smash that like button. The algorithm is kind of hampering the channel as we speak. Also, when this is finished, please leave a comment underneath because we want to make sure that we break the algorithm and put this forward and let people see it. Without those comments, people don't see it. So if you could help me out by doing that. Also, I'm thinking about leading a group meditation over the weekend. Maybe not, maybe right before we do the event so we can clear our energy and really use the Magic Box Timeline event to really enhance all of our abilities and all of our understandings. I apologize. My voice is getting a little bit hoarse as it seems right now. And, I really, really love to clear the energies before we walk into that collective consciousness upgrade that we're going to get during timeline. So, with that being said, I hope everybody found this with love and abundance. I hope that your consciousness is resonating with all of this, and your vibration is now stoked, so you can go out and change the world. That's what we're here to do. And I love all of you. I'm with all of you always. Remember that we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and the information is the activation. We are all products of source. We're all here resonating within our experience to excel within that experience. So, with that being said, my name is Rob Yox. This has been Full Spectrum Universe, Races from the Stars, Part 8, the Arcturians. Have a good night.